Yes, hello, everybody. I suppose you can see my screen, but just can you confirm, Martin?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
okay. So, first, thank you very much for the organization of this conference. So I will speak about how to work together for longevity, and especially in this during these COVID times. So I usually begin conferences with reminders. So today, about 110,000 people will die of diseases related to old age. And so in COVID times, about 5,000 people each day die of one of these diseases strongly related to old age. This is, of course, COVID-19. So precisely 4,732 yesterday. Well, precisely if you believe the statistics, of course. There are many similarities between COVID-19 and aging. So the age of dying, people dying the COVID-19 in a country like Germany, Italy, it's in average more than 80 years. Men are dying sooner than women, and more of this disease than women. And of course, sick people are dying faster and more than people in good health. So we spoke already about the aspect of a deficient immune system, like something very, very important in both cases. And this will be the main theme of my speech today. For both aspects, we know a lot, but we have a lot of uncertainty. A little bit more about COVID-19. So COVID-19 is important because never in the last 5 centuries of human history had an health event such an impact. And also never before in the history of mankind we have been fighting so quickly with so much energy and with so many scientific resources, economic resources, political and financial resources. Okay, so we know already a lot about the RNA, about the number of victims, about how the virus work, where and when it strikes, and we know, last but not least, how to stop it. But we know how to stop it by using the lockdown, and well, it's successful in my region of the world, in Europe, not yet successful in other parts of the world, and especially not in South America. We have statistics. We have more statistics available at the moment concerning the COVID than concerning aging in general. There are many beautiful, I would say, theoretical decisions concerning how to share data. So just a few days ago, May 29, the WHO created a platform to centralize data, knowledge, and so on, but this is all on a voluntary base. Okay, and now coming to the less positive side, um, even if we are working, if thousands of people, 10,000s of people are working full time on this since now 4 months, there are so many things that we don't know. The fatality rate, the degree of virus contamination, how contagious it is for asymptomatic people, the degree of risk of being reinfected, the risk of infection from animal objects, airs, and maybe the most important, well, the most important aspect before the question concerning cures. We still don't know if there is a different fatality rate according to the strains, according to the affected populations, and according to the climate and weather. And of course, we don't have a cure yet. We don't have vaccination, and we don't have antibodies of antiviral. we don't know so much about the effect of other drugs, and we don't know why it stopped. In my country, Belgium, it was probably the worst country to live concerning this disease, and now there are almost no more deaths. And yeah, of course, it was because of a successful lockdown, but why didn't it start again? We don't know. And also, most of you or all of you probably know about the big controversy concerning the chloroquine. It is hydrochloroquine. It is a kind of crazy thing that we still don't know if it is working or not. Now, speaking about radical longevity. So for radical longevity, we know many things. We have more statistics than ever concerning lifespan, concerning diseases, concerning the diseases related to old age, more knowledge about genes related to aging, more access to publications. So all this is beautiful, but there are still fundamental questions for without answers. So the first one and the biggest one is, why is it until now totally impossible to prolong maximal lifespan when we can prolong average lifespan? This is true for human people, but even for mice. Are there gene therapies possible against aging? Are there products really prolonging average lifespan, like senolytics, metformin, rapamycin? I know that some of you will react here and think, yeah, I know that this one or this one is working, but actually there is no scientific consensus. And are there other therapies that we can imagine in the not so far future? There's also one thing that many ethicists and many people in, let's say, the medical field forget. It's the fact that many years of life expectancy are probably are certainly lost because of what's called the Ehrum's law. So the Ehrum's law, it's kind of a joke to say that the Moore's law is not working for medical research and for new drugs. So the fact that today, during an average year, we find less drugs than 10 or 20 years ago. And there is the aspect of very slow ethical committees. So in the US, it's called institutional review boards. When you want to test new products for people, you need to go through an ethical committee. And for example, even though after all this mobilization for the COVID-19, at the European level, there is no decision to make it possible to test new new drugs in one place. You have to go, for example, in Germany, you have even to go to specific ethical committees. One ethical committee at the German level is not enough. So like I already said, for me, the biggest problem, the biggest question is how to prolong the maximal lifespan. And you have to know that if we progress kind of 3 months a year concerning the average lifespan since since the last 200 years, we progressed almost not at all concerning the maximal lifespan. So 2000 years ago, a woman named Terencia died. She was the widow of Cicero, and she was 103 years old. And the oldest person in the world at the moment is 117 years. So we didn't almost progress. So I want to say just a few words concerning big data, because big data seems to be a very good solution for many aspects. So one of the problems that we see in these times of COVID is it's very useful, but it's very complicated when you don't have good enough statistics You cannot detect where are the good weak signals. And sometimes it's incredible how, I would say, how basic information is not available. For example, in my country, Belgium, for 25% of the people dying of the COVID-19, we even don't know the age and the sex. Also, another example in Japan, just a few years ago, they discovered that many centenarians or super centenarians who were supposed to be alive probably were still in the statistics but were dead since many years. So what do we need? One of the things that we need to progress for longevity is kind of a social aspect acceptation for more research. And to have a social acceptation for more research, we need to have as a global principle that the use of global data and health data is only to ensure health and research purposes and not for commercial aspects. Now, coming to what I think, but of course I'm here also because I want to hear your opinion just after and during the debate and maybe also later. What should we do as fast as possible? So we should test products, so like senolytics, metformin, rapamycin. We should test stem cells. We were speaking about that before. And we should test gene therapies when they will be available, because at the moment there are no gene therapies working yet concerning aging. To organize such test, we need volunteers well informed enough, in good health, and old enough. So 17, 18, 95, or even 99 years old for women. Because if you can test products with old people, you have very fast results just by the differences in mortality. So people interested for themselves and for the community, and to have randomized and double-blind groups. It will be ethically, let's say, not a problem to have people with placebo, because all these people would receive the best care, and the fact that they are in a group with the best, the fact that they are following clinical tests make that they have actually better care than if they were just in the normal population. We need to make this test good biomarkers. That is one of the important problems we were already discussing. So I gave here a few examples, well, many examples of good biomarkers that we could use. Of course, the mortality is, yeah, let's say the best biomarker. And we must not forget in the future to also explore potential other avenues concerning longevity, and to use medical artificial intelligence. I'm already to the conclusion, so we have more time for the debate. So we absolutely need to organize as fast as possible clinical tests, double-blind, randomized. Of course, we have to start with mice, and I know that mice and testing on animals can be a problem, but normally, logically, it should not be a problem, because the goal is to make it possible for mice and later for humans to live longer. We need, and this is for me one of the very important problems, we need really open data and open knowledge. And this is for me, I would say, clear after the last months of the COVID-19 than before. Then working together and having a lot of studies is not enough. So that we really need open data, and we really need to have a good control of this. So when possible, real coordination and open science, and kind of a moonshot project. We could call it an international longevity station, like you have the International Space Station. Okay, a few people like Bill Gates, that some people love to eat, but okay. We're speaking about the possible vaccination concerning COVID-19. They were saying that this vaccination and the products against this disease should be a common good. Maybe this concept should be enlarged and say that healthy longevity is a common good. And so one of the big problems is the patents. So we could organize something like solidarity patents. And another big problem that I'm hearing, well, I would say too many times, is people saying, "Oh yes, but I cannot speak about this because I have a non-disclosure agreement." So for longevity, there should be something like full disclosure agreements. The let's say declaration for people, scientists making research, that they want really to make their discoveries common good for everybody. Okay, so that's already it, except that I give you here my email address, a few websites where you can find more information. If you send me an email, you can have the free newsletter, the date of the death, two first centuries are free. And now we have time for quite a few questions normally. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Didier Coeurnelle. Now, first I invite audience to ask some questions. Okay, I will read the question from David Wood. It goes like this.
Yeah.
If there are full disclosure agreements instead of non-disclosure agreements, perhaps VCs won't invest in startups developing longevity solutions.
Yes.
Where will the investment come from instead?
Yeah, so I was expecting this question. For me, well, the first, if since many years I'm trying to make a list of all these startups, and well, these startups are using a lot of public money. They are so if we decided to use this public money, not to let's say to create startups, but to give it directly to researchers, I think it would be one positive aspect. Also, at least in European countries, I don't know the situation in other countries, but in European countries, well, very often these startups are created at the level of, let's say, or are indirectly created at the level of public institutions. And then when there is a new product, or there is a new, let's say, therapy, these startups are bought by big companies for a big price, but it's not then going to the, let's say, to the common good, or to the it's not going to be useful for the collectivity. So in many cases, you have public money actually going to private organizations. So that's one part of the answer for me. So I see a totally other question. Can you share what you?
Yeah, from Pascal.
Yeah.
There's a question of what you can do to improve your own health.
So my conviction is at the moment we don't have anything. So I had well, the not very funny, well, the just a little bit more than 1 year ago, I almost died for a heart infarct. And now I'm taking metformin because of, let's say, to cure or at least to prevent a second one. But at the moment, the only product probably useful for longevity is metformin, and for the rest, there is only what you, let's say, what your parents were telling you when you were young. Don't eat too much, don't smoke, don't take too much risk. Yeah, and like Aubrey de Grey would say, give money to give money to me. Would say, so don't give money to me, give money to Aubrey de Grey or to other organizations, and yeah, and also give your energy to promote scientific research for longevity, because at the moment, at least, I mean, in a country like in the rich country, or even in most countries, at the moment, most people live at least 75 years, and after that, there is nothing to, except to the genetic aspects, but there is not much that you can do to live really longer. Yeah. And so I'm reading the comment question, I don't know, of
Yeah.
so I agree, OpenAI could provide an interesting template. I think the new commercial model means to have some good features of free market investment, but with limits, so that most of the large benefit will go to the public. Yeah, that's a comment. But to go further with this comment, well, for me, sometimes I'm really, but I would like to hear some people reacting to this. But I was, well, just a few months ago when the research for COVID-19 was starting, I was thinking, oh, this is beautiful, and also I was hoping that it would become clear that COVID-19 is kind of a disease related to old age, and that we would progress very fast. But the fact is, we are not. And one of the reasons for me is that there is no common organization with public money, and that many organizations are working, let's say, not together. And the declarations concerning common good, common work are nice declarations, but not concrete enough in the realization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting thoughts, and I think that we will keep repeating these thoughts. Hopefully not for long, but these are some more deeper problems of our society that you presented.
Yeah.